So Steven Universe made a new discovery today.
Uh-oh.
How to continue making episodes that take longer than 11 minutes.
Yeah, I was amazed. I was like, holy shit, this is like a normal length episode rather than a tiny length episode.
Yes, it's almost like it's a good idea or something.
Well, it's a good thing it had that extended runtime, because it took me most of it to realise it was a Thanksgiving episode.
Yes.
I keep forgetting it's a thing that happens, because it doesn't happen here. Nobody cares, it's already Christmas time, motherfuckers.
Of course. To be fair, that does exactly happen here too, in a way.
Although shops here are now doing Black Friday, we don't have Thanksgiving, but they're like, oh, Black Friday sales, and we're just like, what you do? What are you doing?
Why?
Why?
Not.
Buffett. Anyway.
I am so funny. I'm so funny, apparently.
Oh, I'm sure dated anime references are hilarious.
It's Pokemon, it's never dated.
That's true.
What are we talking about?
Brand new cartoons that aren't Pokemon.
Yay! Okay, so this episode is Gem Harvest. And because it's a longer episode, I have a longer than usual description. Hooray!
Yay.
Steven meets up with Lapis and Peridot, only to find that they've started growing vegetables around the barn. They're disappointed they're not live like how gems are grown, so Steven tries to cheer them up by growing a pumpkin using his ability to make plants come alive.
Because that's not a terrible plan.
Yeah. After the next day, they end up meeting the little pumpkin doggy, but suddenly a visitor in a small plane comes to try to take the barn back, saying it's his. Initially, they are hostile to each other, but eventually Greg and the others come over to help resolve it. The visitor turns out to be Greg's cousin, Auntie DeMayo, who he hasn't seen in around 20 years. While he's still hostile and ignorant towards the crystal gems for taking the barn that belonged to his family, Steven tries to have a family dinner of sorts to try to convince him, I guess, that they are a family? I'm not entirely sure how that would help what he was going for. But I guess it worked, so whatever. You know, something.
It did the trick, I guess, sort of.
Anyway, they end up harvesting the vegetables and try to make a grand feast to celebrate being together, and also to calm down Andy while he gets used to this strange group of aliens, which slowly works. At the dinner, the gems mostly joke about all the crazy stuff that happened in the past while, and all the things they've been through before, but unintentionally leaving Andy out of it. Peridot at the end thanks him for getting them all together like this, but he suddenly decides to leave after saying they can have the barn. Steven, with Lapis, chases after him on his plane, eventually leading to Lapis throwing him onto the plane and saying he wants to be Andy's family. Andy catches Steven when he suddenly falls, and they talk for a bit, saying how sad he is that everything changed, but admitting some of the mistakes he's made. They then go back and talk some more, and the episode kinda just ends there. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this episode a solid they tried. The beginning was really, really cute. I just, my heart was overwhelmed with joy at the sight of Peridot and Lapis having fun doing some farming together. They were looking really genuinely happy about it, even though they didn't realize that growing plants doesn't make them sentient, which, is a really interesting when you think about how gems are made. That is, of course they didn't know sentient. And the pumpkin puppy is the cutest thing on the entire frickin' show full of cute things. Pumpkin puppy wins.
Pumpkin puppy.
Also, just the beginning of this episode reminded me of, what was that headline that was like, lesbian farmers are going to destroy America?
What?
I'm gonna have to Google what that was about, but it was something about, it was one of those weird, angry talk show hosts on the radio you have in America who was ranting about lesbian farmers, I guess.
What?
Oh yeah, Rush Limbaugh was claiming that Obama was creating an army of lesbian farmers to take over America.
What?
He neglected to... I don't know, is this guy really real, or is he made up like The Onion?
I think most people don't even know anymore.
No. Anyway, it neglected to specify that the lesbian farmers will be aliens, and they're not trying to take over the world anymore.
Okay, I can't even with that.
But that's what the beginning of this episode made me think of. lesbian farmers destroying the country.
I really like this episode. Against all odds.
Yeah?
That sums up my opinion pretty well. Like, basically, this episode was... This is actually the perfect description. This episode is basically a Lars episode if they actually made Lars a sympathetic human being by the end.
They did a little bit with Andy. You know, there's a little introspective moment of, I didn't want everyone to leave and change, but maybe... The bit where he's like, I have a plane, I could have gone to visit people. Instead I'm at home being sad and bitter. So, yeah, if Lars showed that kind of introspection once in a while, I'd like him a lot more as a character, probably.
Exactly. But I will say, it was... Like, there are some episodes where 20 seconds in, you'll know you'll like it. This is not one of those episodes. It really... Like, the episode works entirely for how the last quarter of it goes. And if it didn't go in that way, the episode could have just failed.
I was worried it was going to for a little while, because it was so freaking uncomfortable with everything going on with Andy, and I wasn't sure if it was going in a direction of resolution or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do kind of perfectly evoke that whole you're home for the holidays and you gotta put up with all your horrible relatives.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know, I liked the cute stuff in the beginning the most, before Andy showed up.
I disagree. The best part was when Pearl showed up with the cake. Easily.
Oh, we should all get married to each other.
I died from that. It was amazing.
And then they're just like, we tried to cram all the important events in a human's life into one party, including giving him a gravestone. And it's just like, oh my god.
We're very sorry for your marriage.
You poor, confused alien babies.
I feel like that might be one of the best examples of the creators specifically trolling people with what they say.
Oh, and yeah, it's just I love any time that reminds you just how alien these things, you know, the gems are, and it's, you know, specifically they have come from another planet. They are a whole different species that functions completely differently, and it leads to these hilarious misunderstandings.
Yeah.
Dare I even call them shenanigans?
I just love that Pearl genuinely exclaimed that they should all get married. Something about that is the best thing ever.
Should all get married to each other.
Hooray!
It was just wonderful.
This isn't the series I expected to have the harem ending, but, you know, okay. Plot twist.
Surprise!
But yeah, the beginning was pretty fun. Oh, by the way, I think I noticed something about the very beginning that I don't think I've seen anyone else mention. So, on the barn, the alien thing now has antlers.
Yeah, I did see that. That's so cute.
So know what that means? That means that this is an alien antler farm.
What?
Yes. I'm convinced that's what it actually is. They made a reference to a new metal band from the 2000s. And they tried their best, and no one noticed. That's awesome.
I am gonna take your word on that.
Seriously, it's an alien with antlers on a farm. It has to be it can't be a coincidence. It can't. Because there's not even a reason for it to have antlers.
The truth is out there.
That has to be it. And if so, I applaud them. To go that length for a pun no one would get.
You got it.
Yes. I did love Peridot trying to talk to the corn. Hello, corn. Maybe she can't hear me in there.
I was just like, Steven, you are the guy who made sentient watermelons. Why are you laughing at them trying to talk to their...
I made you in my image, what was I say?
Oh, I know, it's like, Peridot, you're not being a very good parent.
and my other favorite line, the whole episode, what's the point of corn? That's just a great out-of-context quote.
What is the point of corn?
Yeah, whenever I have corn, I just want to scream, what's the point of corn?
Well, to be delicious, clearly.
Yes. And to be used in the best type of bread.
Oh, I challenge that. I think cornbread is the best bread. You haven't had sourdough toast. Divine.
I think I have. Wasn't really into it. Sorry.
There's gonna be a bread war breaking out here.
Bacon out.
Ba-dum.
So also, I can't be the only one who got a weird implication from some of the lines that Lapis and Peridot want children.
Kind of. They just wanted to raise... they want to hear the pitter-patter of little gems.
Yeah, that's exactly what it means.
They just want to be adorable lesbian space farmers ruining America, okay?
Yes. Maybe they'll, I don't know, they guys try to one-up Rose. You sound your child with a man, how about us 2 gems? Have a kid, that'll be something new.
That would be interesting. I'm not gonna think too hard about that one, because I'm still not even 200% clear on how Stephen was born.
Carefully. Or maybe not carefully, considering someone died from it.
Yeah, I don't want Lapis and Peridot to die. I want them to live forever and be adorable and happy and raise crops together. So
maybe they'll just adopt a kid. That'd be awesome.
they should adopt a gem.
That too, but I'd love to see just Lapis and Peridot at like an orphanage. And you just take the whole thing like completely seriously. That'd be amazing.
It's an incredibly serious choice of human child.
Yes.
Who they can raise in their weird barn. And he can eat all the crops that they aren't eating that aren't becoming sentient.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of really good jokes. Another just great one is just how messed up the whole thing with the pumpkin was Stephen just stabbing the pumpkin and throwing the pumpkin dog.
The pumpkin puppy was so freaking cute, and then it's freaked out when Stephen's disemboweling this other pumpkin.
But there's just this pumpkin juice all over his face. It's like horror music.
It's terrifying, damn it.
Stephen is the scariest of all to this pumpkin dog.
He saw it disembowel another pumpkin right in front of him. Oh, the humanity.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed when Andy first turned up before he started getting grading, when like he thinks they're hippies that have moved into his barn and tries to figure out what the female version of the word hobo is, like hobets. But I know what you are. You're hippies.
Yes, exactly. Hippie mind tricks.
And he's like, the question is, what are you doing in my barn? And Peridot's like, the real question is, where are my attack drones? Which is a solid question. And then, yeah, Lapis just very casually. I like seeing her happy in and around water and just, happy doing anything ever. It's very sweet.
Yes.
And just the sheer joy Peridot takes in being on that tractor. It's hard.
Yeah.
Because then you remember, Peridot's thing was being mechanical and building things, so yeah, it's just nice to see her having fun on a tractor.
Yeah.
And then Andy turns up on a plane.
Yeah, he does. I will say, for the first while of this episode, I was kind of annoyed that he was named Andy.
Yeah, fair enough.
God damn it. Of all the characters.
You see your future.
Don't even joke about that. Apparently he's voiced by Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Okay.
Okay then.
I know.
I don't have anything better to say about that than okay then.
Which granted does make sense for the character, but still, it's like they have names in a hat. Took random names from random places, put them in a hat, and whoever call up is the next voice actor.
To be fair, I don't know how large voice acting circles are. Might just be that it's like, yeah, he was around. Wasn't working right now.
At some point they'll accidentally put a name in there from someone who's already dead, and then they'll have to introduce a character who's entirely voice clips of that person.
To be fair, I get the impression that Jim Cummings would crawl out of his grave just to do another voice acting job. Like, I don't think there's anything that can stop that man.
No, I guess not.
Anyway, Andy, the reveal that they have kind of stolen his barn is... It is a bit similar. They turns up and someone else is using his barn without him knowing. It's like, oh, that's a little awkward.
Yeah.
And you're just like, Greg,
and then
what?
you get the biggest piece of news in the series history. Universe isn't a real last name.
Plot twist! His real name is DeMaio.
Yes.
Okay.
By the way, the Steven Universe subreddit immediately replaced the universe with DeMaio on their little thing, which is pretty funny.
Stephen DeMaio.
He'll always DeMaio the day.
Oh my goodness. I am curious about why, did he change his name because he was going on the road to sing? Did he change his name?
Yes. He changed his name to be a ridiculous 80s rock star.
Well, I'm unclear, did he legally change his name? Or...
It sounds like it.
Okay, because I was about to say, because Steven's last name is Universe, but I am also unclear on whether or not Steven legally exists.
Yes.
I do like the bit when, Greg and Andy go off to kind of quietly argue in the background, and you just hear Shadow, what do you mean not technically married?
Yes.
And Greg is kind of casual about, it's like, oh yeah, they're aliens, they're from space. And then Andy goes off on this rant about illegal aliens, and Peridot's response is just reactivating attack drones, which is my response to people going on about illegal aliens, to be fair.
True.
But of Steven being Steven and being just the purest character in all of television, of course immediately decides to try and rebuild the bond between his dad and his dad's cousin and get some family relationships. Because also, aside from his dad, he doesn't have any human family until now. He's got this gem family, but he doesn't have much connection to the human half of his heritage through his family.
Yes.
So, and the ways he interacts with human society are a little strange. Like, he doesn't go to school, he's presumably down as homeschooled. So, and usually and running around Beach City, everyone knows he's a weird kid who's doing weird things and interacting with people in very weird ways.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's just cute and interesting. Be nice if he had some family on his dad's side that wasn't kind of a raging bigot, but okay. Don't we all?
Don't we all? Actually, that's probably the thing I'll give the series credit the most for, is that it was, how do I put this? Basically, I think it went in the absolute best direction it could have gone, because there were many directions that were worse. Basically, in the context that the series is still sympathetic and is basically showcasing kindness that actually works out in the end, and Andy is still sympathetic, but at the same time he's sympathetic because he's Ron.
Yeah, because because in the end he acknowledges that he was wrong and he's willing to try again.
Yes.
Which sadly is rarely how it works out in real life, but it's nice to believe.
Yes.
But yeah, and I did kind of like the aerial chase sequence where he's flown away on his plane in a huff, because he can do that, and Steven just casually flies away with Lapis. There we go. Yeah, it's no biggie. I got a friend who can fly. Deal with it.
Yeah. I just love how casual Lapis. Steven's just like, Lapis, throw me onto the plane, and Lapis is just like, okay, no problem.
I understand in the phase where she genuinely doesn't appreciate how fragile humans are, because, being a gem, getting thrown on a plane, there's really no way for them to get hurt doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost forgot the whole conversation at the table.
They're so casual about all their near-death experiences, and of course Andy's getting a little freaked out by that.
It's just really weird.
The whole thing with the cake, where are my manners? And just keep passing the cake around.
Yes.
Because none of them except Steven and Greg eat, and Amethyst.
Yeah.
None of them eat cake.
I like when they start arguing that they had to pay for all their stuff at the store. You know what else would be a reward? A reward. Lapis Peridot just high five.
Also, I have to say I have a lot of love for Steven using his shield as a stir-fry bowl when making the food.
Exactly.
And Andy's face is like, okay, the kid just made a shield out of thin air. That's a thing.
Yes.
And when we're bouncing back and forth here a lot, but I love Pearl's line when Andy first turns up and she's like, what's this new Greg? I don't like this new Greg. Our Greg is clearly the superior Greg.
Yes.
Which is also a nice bit of character development for Pearl, of suddenly being immensely protective of their Greg, the superior Greg.
Actually, though, it might have been even better if they did it before Mr. Greg, because, that would have been more interesting. That the fact that even if she was awkward and weird about Greg, she would still like the Greg she knows over the Greg she doesn't.
Yeah. I don't want to give all of the gems a hug when they're talking about family, and they're just like, gems don't have family. At least not before we came here.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, babies.
Everyone to give Lapis a hug for her desperately diving into ironic humor to protect herself.
Which she always does, and you're just like, oh, Lapis.
Well, she trapped in a mirror for thousands of years. Then see what you think about this table. And the best part is only her and Peridot are laughing.
Her and Peridot are cracking up with their black humor. And I kind of like
just awkwardly saying nothing.
And I like the idea that they've become, best friends or whatever they are. Like, I mildly ship it, but I'm also more than happy with them just being absolute best friends who are just very domestic and hang around making horrible jokes about the horrible shit they've been through all day. I think that's lovely.
Also because they don't have to be gay for each other since they're already gay about their show.
They are. I love the novel way that they harvest crops, which is just Garnet punches the ground till the crops come out.
Yes.
And Steven's just like, she works out, to Andy.
Amethyst turns into a pumpkin dog herself.
That was even cuter! I mean, I love Amethyst shapeshifting all the time anyway, but that meant 2 pumpkin puppies.
You're right.
Oh, I loved it.
And then at the end, Peridot, well, thanks for the barn! I love that she's kept that.
Yeah. I mean, the Gem's behaviour does make a lot of Andy's responses seem fairly sympathetic, because they did turn up and use his barn, and they do gut his plane at one... well, not his plane, but, you know, some of his equipment at one point to start cooking food. I wonder about what's all the details with Greg apparently being cut off from his family. Like, wait, is it just because he left to be a rock star? Is there more to
Possibly.
it than that?
I mean, based on the ending, I assume the point is that everyone left to do their own thing at some point.
And just apparently don't keep in touch at all, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they keep in touch with each other, because Andy seems to know what's going on, but clearly either Greg's not keeping in touch with people, or people aren't keeping in touch with Greg. And I just wonder what that's about. Feel sad for Greg.
Yeah.
Back to more Peridot and Lapis shenanigans. I love it. Peridot's like, didn't we save the Earth? We should have access to everything on it by right. And Lapis is just, or at least get a discount.
Yes. They have a point, you know.
Or they were like, we don't want to start another gem war at the table. And then when they all just kind of low-key start giving thanks for things, that is the point where I realised, oh, it's a Thanksgiving episode. That's
yes.
How long it took me. Where about the time when they're going, and thanks to Amethyst for putting out that grease fire. And starting it.
And starting it.
That's when I figured out it was a Thanksgiving episode.
I will say, this episode would be hilarious if it was someone's first.
This would be a hell of a time to come into it, especially with just all the jokes around the table about gem warfare and horrifying trauma, and, oh yeah, we don't eat, except Amethyst, who ate like 3 gallons of cooking oil. And just, what?
It would probably be the most confusing thing ever.
Yeah, you're just like, what the shit is going on here? What are these shenanigans?
Oh, I almost forgot one last line. When he decides to make the pumpkin dog thing, he says, Garnet says not to lick stuff I find on the ground, but...
I love what a mom, like a lot of the gems are mums to Steven, but Garnet is like maximum level. Double mum power.
Like, I just imagine that, Steven, don't lick things you find on the ground, because they might end up being sentient.
Yeah, Steven's got an extra reason not to lick things. He might bring them to life.
Yes.
Ugh, a strange child. I will also say I really enjoyed the sunset colours of the last couple scenes. Just, in general, sunset palettes are just really beautiful.
Yes, they are.
So yeah, I think this episode had a lot of bits and moments that were really funny. That overall narrative, which I think they were sort of trying to communicate a message about dealing with estranged or kind of horrible sometimes family at Thanksgiving. My experience of horrible family dinners is Christmas, not Thanksgiving, but I kind of get what they're going for.
Yes.
And yeah, Steven Universe is such an optimistic show. Of course, they can fix their relationship with Andy. He's willing to acknowledge his flaws.
Yes.
I just wonder if at any point they're going to use any of Greg's extended family to examine how you deal with family who aren't going to change like that. Because a lot of us have family who are not going to apologise for the rude way they've been to the illegal aliens or whatever and become better people. It's sad and it feels like it's going against the optimistic message of the show, but that is just the way it is for some people, and you gotta maybe deal with the fact that if you're doing all you can, you cannot even you're doing all you can and you still can't change some people.
Yeah.
Kind of the Mrs. Doubtfire approach to the divorce Aesop, you know. I don't know.
I actually kind of hope they don't try an episode on that, simply because when they introduced a non-dangerous character who's an asshole, it's rarely fun. That's usually when the series fails.
It would clash so much with the tone of the show, I don't know that it would work.
Yeah. Probably only work if they were, like, I don't even know. I don't think this is the type of series that, if it was a different type of cartoon, I think you could just go full on cartoonistly about it, but I'm not sure that would work here, so.
No, I don't think it would.
Yeah. My immediate thought is Pacifica's parents in Gravity Falls, which are actually able to be both realistically and cartoonistly evil.
Yeah, I think what they did here was not terrible. It was pretty good. It was like, I don't think it's the best episode of Steven Universe, but that's like, saying a particular book isn't the best Discworld book. It's still, by the standards of everything else, phenomenal.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's one of those series that as long as you have a lot of the main cast around, it'll work out pretty well.